Today I'm joined by Patrick Horvath, writer and artist behind Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and as of today released Archie in Hell. How are you today, sir? Thank you for joining me.
I'm doing swell, thank you very much. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Are you having a good con?
Yeah, it's been a blast so far. I feel like this is only my third year doing this, but I feel like I've finally kind of found a balance so far, or at least the schedule gods have been very kind to me.
That's
so
good.
so I feel like I'm hitting my stride. It's good.
Awesome. So I want to start off with Beneath the Trees here, and everybody describes Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees as Dexter meets Richard Scarry, but that's really just the elevator pitch. Now that the readers have experienced the full story, what do you hope they figure out the book is actually about?
I feel like it's more abstractly, it's just like it's an exploration of like having sort of innocence and taken for granted, and then having that spoiled in the way that you kind of didn't realize was always there and could always spoil it. And I feel like it's sort of a rite of passage for a lot of people growing up, and so that honestly, like, that was the big inspiration for when I first even put it together. Was like it would be this horrible thing, very much tied to like this nostalgic childhood, like Richard Scarry busy town, you know. But then as an adult looking back at it, how that is very like corrupted.
So, with Sam now being one of the most fascinating characters in modern horror and comics, because readers somehow find themselves rooting for a serial killer, how difficult was it to find that balance between making her relatable without ever asking readers to excuse what she's done?
It was definitely a challenge, like figuring out how we were going to make this work as a main character. And the one thing that I really leaned on was the idea of like order versus chaos, and it felt like even if like the orderly part like required murder, somehow it was going to be more palatable than like the crazy element with Nigel coming in. So that that was it. That was honestly like it. They had their set world, right? And everything felt like it was in its place. And then once that was unsettled, like you kind of just wanted to get back to that, even if it meant like, it required like the random murder of somebody or whatever. Somehow it felt like that was like the through line. And then the balance of it being this like very cute thing that was offset by this, this like horrible element to it all. It just felt like, I don't know, somehow it felt natural in the balance of it. And so I honestly, like, a lot of it was intuition and kind of going with what felt right.
So with Beneath the Trees being got this breakout sensation that is pretty much swept through comics even early on with how crazy prices of the first issue were going and things like that, has that success changed your creative process at all?
It's definitely like does a number on your brain, because you're like, am I ever gonna, like, is this gonna happen again? Am I always gonna be the animal guy? Are we gonna like find a way to like, would this ever be replicable? Or is this just like this moment? And honestly, I'm leaning more towards the latter. Like, I think I ended up putting out a book at a real specific moment. I was a very unknown creator, and I think a lot of people were caught off guard and were also like, and bless their hearts, were like very enthusiastic about championing this book in a way that like I just did not anticipate, and feels like incredibly welcoming within comics community, that it's like has become so well loved by so many people. And I just I don't know. The thing of it is, like, it's just the story of how like I came into the comics. And I think that like I don't know if I'll ever have a book like as wildly successful as this book is and has been. But if I do, great, but I'm not going to try and replicate it, because I don't think you can. It feels very much like lightning in a bottle. And I think that to try and like put my head into like what would work again in like the same way would be kind of silly. But to sort of like take a step back, the thing of it that was really encouraging is that this was just it was a book that I just put all this stuff that I thought was sort of strange. Like, I didn't know that anybody would be into it, but I also didn't feel like I would have another shot at putting stuff like this in a book that was I didn't know if we would ever do more than the first arc. And so, and that was so well received that I guess that's the thing that I'm just always going to follow, is like I have this like bizarre interest in certain stuff, and I think telling the story of whatever that is kind of like the thing that I just need to keep following.
So when you were writing it, did you know, like, as you were writing it, you're like, this is going to be something, like, or were you just completely taken aback by it?
I had totally taken aback by it. I thought it was going to find like. I thought the singles were probably going to sell moderate to like okay. So it was a no name.
Yeah.
And then after that, like maybe the trade would find an audience. That's honestly what I thought. So when like the first issue sold out a couple times, and then the second issue sold out, and the third issue sold out, I was like, this is nuts. I didn't expect this at all. And I feel like a lot of it was on the strength of the hook. And then readers realizing that there was like a little more depth to it than they were anticipating at all. And that it was sort of like a bit of a puzzler because I came out of nowhere because I'd been doing, film, TV writing, mostly just my own like indie film writing, and had been like working on my chops or whatever. But like when I finally had a different like venue for it, completely nobody knew me from that at all, and so I think that's honestly kind of what it was all part of this weird recipe of this thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like well into my 40s now, so like this is very much like a left turn for me. I didn't expect to be doing this like a little bit ago. So it's totally wild, but great. And yeah, I mean the best thing I can say though is like I get to make comics tomorrow. Like that's so cool.
Right? It's the dream.
Yeah.
Living
It
the
is
dream.
literally.
100%.
Yeah. Literally, yes. It's so rewarding to be able to do something like do creative like storytelling. At all, and to find an audience, like it's incredible to do that. So I just count myself. The book has very much been like a gift. Like, I'm very grateful.
So now it was just announced today that you're going to be writing Archie in Hell. So what about Archie is it that's drawing you to that book, and is there any sort of fear or hesitation there with taking on a property as big as Archie and everyone in Riverdale?
Very intimidating, and I don't think I would have. I definitely did not seek this out. Hunter Goranson came to me and asked if I'd be interested, and I was so not expecting that. I'm also curious about working on licensed stuff, and Archie has been like one of those things that it's like a institution. Like it's been around for like 85 years, and that's nuts. Like what can you say? What can you say that's been around for 85 years? That's part of pop culture. So the opportunity to work on it just felt like so unique, and it was going to be a challenge for me to see if I could figure out how to deal with that. Just work on a licensed property at all on a longer scale, And it turns out that like I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and it's working out super well. But like it was just mostly it was like a challenge at first, and then the idea that I could do something like gnarly with Archie was really appealing and fun. And in the very similar way that like Beneath the Trees, it's like this innocent place. It's this very innocent town, and then you just have these horrible things that are happening. And they're very traumatic, and so like it felt like very similar to like, oh, this is like a Riverdale. Mm-hmm. I can definitely work with this. And honestly, the hardest thing has been just like just diving into the world of Riverdale and making sure that like I'm paying proper amount of respect to all the characters and having them like live up to who they truly are within the Riverdale world of Archie.
So, I mean, Riverdale is no stranger to the horror genre, the afterlife of the Archie and things like that. So what is it that's going to set your story apart without spoiling anything? How are you going to approach the horror aspect of the Riverdale universe?
Well, it's a different type of horror, and it's also like going to be playing, I think, into like toying with the genres of horror without spoiling too much. But the idea of it is that it's like a new slice of and a new flavor of like Archie and Riverdale and all the people within it sort of dealing with this trauma that's coming up. And it won't be the same. It's definitely not going to be the same as Afterlife. And we wouldn't even, like, there's no zombies, which I'll say up front. There's no werewolves. There, you know what I mean?
Demons? Are there demons?
There
is hell.
are going to be demons.
Okay.
But it definitely sets itself aside from all of those that have come before. I'm definitely, like, aware and respectful, like, and I really appreciate, like, the other books too. I'm actually a big fan of that, as well as, like, Sabrina and actually, I mean, and I feel like Archie's, like Archie Comics, their, willingness to, like, dive into all that stuff is, like, really refreshing and fun.
So on Beneath the Trees, you were the writer and illustrator, kind of doing everything. How do you feel about working with someone else now and collaborating on this book?
It's a bit of a dream come true because I'm a huge fan of Tyler Crook, and it's been honestly like one of those sort of like pinch me moments when I send off scripts and then I get the art back from Tyler and it's incredible, and you're like, oh wow, because I was a fan of his since Harrow County, and I mean, like, Out of Alcatraz was like one of my favorite books that came out last year. And so it's awesome. Like, I honestly didn't think he would want to do the book because he's got a lot going on. He's a very talented, popular guy, and has many projects that he's working on. And so when he said yes, I almost didn't, like, couldn't believe it. But it's been super cool. I'm a little like, I mean, it's new to me, right? Like, I haven't really written for anybody aside from. I did a short for Love Ignited for Ignition Press with Morgan Beam. She wrote from a script I already did, and I thought I was going to draw that one. And then it didn't end up panning out for me to draw it. And then when we were looking for an artist, Morgan was an awesome match. And that was the first time. I didn't write it for her, though, which is sort of strange in the sense that, like, I probably would have made it better for her if I knew I was writing for her. And probably left stuff, like, more, like, probably written it a little less because I was kind of exacting about certain stuff in it and whatever. And I told her all that, and she ran with it in an awesome way. With Tyler, it's like me finding, like, the right level of, like, what is it that's going to happen, what's not going to happen, and the like, how that's going to play out through the layouts, and that. But I mean, it's like, They still, like, it. I think we're getting really good balance with it, and then also, like, they come back and they just look spectacular. So I'm just like, it's been a very, very fun relationship.
All right, they're wrapping us here. So my last question for you is: Sam and Archie find themselves in the same universe. Who should be worried about the other? Sam worried about Archie, or Archie worried about Sam?
Oh man, I don't think Archie would ever suspect Sam. Sam would be worried about Archie. Now Archie might mess things up for her, whatever she's got cooking.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Thank you so much for joining me, Patrick. Make sure to check out Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees and Archie in Hell when it releases. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, man.